This is Sounds on Vinyl, the podcast that celebrates the best rock, metal, and punk music on vinyl. And now, here's Mike and Phil.
Hey, everyone. We're recording live to digital. This is This Sounds on Vinyl show from the Speakeasy Studios in Idaho Falls, Idaho. My name is Phil Boyer, and from the Grand Anarchy Studio in Malmo, Sweden is Mike Svensson. Hey, Mike, how are things in the land of the Vikings?
Hey, man. Yeah, it's really good, despite all the crazy stuff that's happening around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I try to focus on the music, though, and vinyl records, of course, in particular. But if I'm going to talk a little about what's going on over there on the Instagram vinyl community, it's a great vibe going on over there. People are coming together and spreading some love and keeping the spirit up. So it's really good. You have to check that out. It's
awesome.
It's really fantastic. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah. And while we're talking about the Instagram community, let's take a minute to thank all of you guys for listening and leaving comments over there on Instagram. You know, in these days where we're all hunkered down, it's so much fun getting together with you guys every week. And, you know, we really wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys listening and leaving comments and all that good stuff. So, with that said, we're always looking for ways to improve the show. So if you have an album or a topic you'd like us to talk about regarding vinyl, go ahead and leave a comment on any of the Sounds on Vinyl posts that Mike does, and Mike will add it to the list. Or you can contact me on the old Instagram. I am Phil Boyer, or just Phil Boyer on Twitter, and we'll add that to the list of ideas that we've got percolating all the time.
Oh yeah.
So let's dive into the show tonight. I hope you guys are ready, because this is gonna be a good one, because we're going back to 1991 when the grunge movement had started to ruin music forever. Bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, they all overshadowed all the cool stuff that we grew up with and made the 80s so freaking epic. But through the madness, one band that had dominated thrash metal was getting ready to release a new record. Enter Sandman was released on July 29th, 1991, reaching number 16 on Billboard's Hot 100 and was certified platinum. And there it was, the first single to the new Metallica record, which was nicknamed the Black Album. Some say it was because the cover was black, but for many of us, including myself, it was because it signified the death of Metallica and its greatness. While songs like Unforgiven and Nothing Else Matter found success on the chart, it left a sour taste in many of longtime Metallica fans. But, and there's always a but, a big old huge but with a great big crack in it, the Black Album was the record that started a new beginning that would make Metallica one of the most powerful and richest musical acts, second only to U2, who also sold out, by the way. All right, Mike, do you remember where you were when you first heard Enter Sandman for the first time?
Yeah. Actually, it's so much fun listening to you, because I know where this is going. Because this is why we chose to do another like Ozzy Post Malone thing. It's we agree at some point, but disagree massively on different things. So we're trying to level things out here and hoping it's gonna be a great show. Now back to your question. The first time I heard anything from these albums was when Enter Sandman hit the airwaves, and the video to it also. I was a bit surprised and a bit disappointed, because it sounded nothing like the Metallica that I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hard time getting into it, actually, but it was just around the corner uh, from the world tour that they were going on, and it's really massive promotion going on in my neck of the woods, because their opening show for the whole um, worldwide tour that they did was in Lars's hometown of Gentofte, in the outskirts of Copenhagen. So and it's a Monsters of Rock and Metallica are headlining, and it's oh man, and hearing those songs played live was a completely different, and to listen to them on record, and they appeared much faster and heavier, which I thought was lacking on the album. And I actually got to see 3 shows on that tour. So what's your take on it? I'm afraid to ask, but what's your take on this?
Well, like all Metallica fans back in those days, we were all looking forward and patiently waiting for the new single to hit the airwaves. And at the time I was working the night shift at a paint store. We were we were responsible for unloading the truck of all the supplies and everything. And we always cranked the radio as we did that and stocked the store and everything. And the DJ just kept teasing the new Metallica music. And we're like, just get to it already. God damn it. Let's hear this stuff. And finally it came on, and we sat and we waited. And we're both looking at each other like, what the hell is going on? Disappointment really wasn't the right word, because this just wasn't the greatness that we were expecting. It just, it just wasn't there. I mean, Enter Sandman's not an entirely bad song, but like you said, it's just not the Metallica that we all knew and grew up with. I really tried liking this album, but you know what? I have to be honest. It just sucks balls. It sucks balls like a $2 whore on all you can eat Thursdays. I mean, I just
man. Oh. And there's the start of this race. Woohoo! Oh man.
Yeah. Sorry guys, but yeah, it's just not a good record. I mean, I never listen to this thing, and when one of the songs come on the radio, in the rare times I listen to the radio, I can't get to change the channel any quicker. It's just it's just not good. And if I never hear that fucking Unforgiven song again, it'll be too soon. God, that song just needs to fucking die already.
Oh my God, that shit is too funny. Oh man, where do we go from that, my friend?
Favorite songs? Let's talk about
favorites. Yeah, but it's actually, for me, there is a couple of songs that I really like, but that being said, it's not an album that I listen to very often. It's I had to bring it out for this show, and it's all like at least a half a year ago I listened to it. But I hear there are so much memories for me, and it's sort of like it combines the memories from the shows that I've seen from this tour, and sometimes I hear the roar of the crowd when I listen to a song like "Don't Tread on Me" of Wolf and Man, "Wherever I May Roam," and so on. But it's like you say, it's a disappointment for a Metallica fan. I get that. It's like that for me too. Don't get me wrong, but it's I think I have a different perspective on it, being in there in that moment, seeing Metallica there in Copenhagen in August back in 1991, and letting them rip into the older stuff. I mean, they opened up with Creeping Death, and it was like a freeway of Metallica Mayhem from there on. So you didn't pay that much attention to those newer songs because they were played actually much faster and much more heavy than on the album, as I said before. So with that in mind, I think my experience of this album is quite different from yours. But as you say, I wouldn't go to say that it sucks balls because I really don't think that. But it's one of those albums that I think that needed to come out at the time, at the point where it did. And I know why they did it, because they wanted to show everybody that they're more than just playing like really fast and banging their heads. I get that, but still it's a disappointment, because I would rather that they kept the thing that they did with Master of Puppets and Ride of Lightning, that heavy feel to it, the way they did on the latest one, Hardwired. I think that's more in tune with the thing that they did on Monster and Ride. But you could never recreate the older feel that they got, because I think for me, when Cliff died, it was a game changer for the band. And I think that we talked about this on an early episode when we talked about the Monster of Puppets, and I think it stoked them to the bones with what the hell are we going to do now? I mean, our bass player, Cliff Burton, has died on an icy road in Sweden. What the hell should we do now? Is the band over? And they got in touch with Jason, and he was on board. And then all of a sudden, they're on tour again, playing in Japan in December, as the accident took place in September of '86. And I think it's progressed from there. And Justice for All, which I think it's a really great album, but you can see the downfall of it all, because I think that Cliff, he was bringing more to the table than we know, because his harmonies and his classical skills with every other thing that happened around the music per se, what he brought to the table with his knowledge of everything, how it's supposed to sound, and the harmonies and so forth. You could never recreate that again. And I think that they were a bit lost after Justice also, because what the hell were we going with this? And all of a sudden they're releasing this one, and it has massive success. And so
you can really hear the transition in the Justice record, going from Master to the Black record. I don't know if there's a lot of leftover stuff that made that record still good, that Cliff maybe had a hand in writing and putting together and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you talk about memories of the time, nostalgia going back. I have no memories of this record, because I think I got brain damage from hitting my head on the wall wondering what the hell they did, why they put this record out. It took headbanging to a whole new level, to a whole different thing.
That's epic, man. Yes, please continue. Don't let me stop you now. You're on a roll now.
No, in all honesty, I think there is some good on this record. I don't think it's all bad. I think, Wolf and Man has some good grooves to it. What else? Let's see. The beginning of Don't Tread on Me and My Friend of Misery, they're okay, but then My Friend Misery just starts to get all fucking whiny.
Oh my God, how hard are you trying right now? You're trying to find a level where you can find something good to say. I love you
Yeah, I'm
for
trying to
that,
be
man.
positive, man. I'm trying to be
Yeah,
positive.
you
I mean,
try.
honestly, the record is full of 30 seconds here, or a minute there that are decent. But overall, the songs just don't do it for me. I can't pick like one song that I can listen to start to finish. That's like, yeah, this is awesome. Let me add it to a Spotify playlist or something. No. There's not one song that's worth me picking up that record and popping it on and headbanging. Even though I had to listen to it for the show to prepare for the show.
Oh
My
man.
ears are bleeding. I think I had to put cotton in my ears just to stop the bleeding.
Oh man. Oh man.
Oh
And you hear it
God.
here. Oh my
Yeah.
God. It's that shit is too funny.
I think
But
when they were talking about My Friend of Misery, they were talking about the record.
they're talking about you. So if we just touch down for a minute with the career that they had.
I noticed you said had and not have.
Yeah, and oh man.
Freudian slip, maybe, or
Yeah. Oh man, don't rain on my parade. I mean, jeez. Come on, man. I'm thinking in Swedish and trying to speak in
I
English.
know. I'm just
Jeez.
giving you shit. I'm just giving you shit.
Yeah, I know, but it's good shit. I love it. Let's
Well,
go.
they're trying to make a comeback with this next record. So
Yeah, but still, what about their career after the Black Album? What do you think? Is it all crap? Did you
garbage.
wish that it is? Do you wish that they just lay down and died after Cliff? Really?
Part of me does, if I'm being honest. I do.
Okay.
I don't. You know, I'm
like
not
Led Zeppelin did
sure.
when John Bonham died. The band was over. They should have done that
Right.
in '86.
Yeah. I think, and honestly, we've talked about this before. On one hand, I feel yes. On the other hand, they've made more money since they started doing music like this than ever before. So
Yeah.
as a career standpoint, it was the best career move they could have made. From a business sense, they definitely made the right move.
Yeah.
And if I was their manager, I probably would be in full support of what they're doing right now. But as a fan, not so much.
Okay. But do you also think that AC/DC would have called it quits when Bond died?
The thing
Put
is,
you on the spot, didn't I?
Well, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because AC/DC didn't change, which is interesting because usually you attribute the sound of a band to the lead singer, and I think AC/DC proved that's not always the case.
All right, good call, my friend. Good call.
So
all right,
yeah.
So yes. So if they kept on doing what they did on Master of Puppets, it would be okay to continue with Jason.
I think it would have been even with Justice. I mean, I think Justice had a little bit of a different sound. Like I mentioned before, it was a bit of a transition from Master to the Black Album. And I would have been okay with that. I mean, I think Justice was a really good record.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But I feel like that was their last good record. Even this new record, it's better. It's in the right direction. It's I like some of the songs on it. It might be one of those records that I'd pull out from time to time and listen to, but it's still not like the old days. It still doesn't have that Metallica feel to it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that bands have to keep a certain sound forever and ever and ever. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying bands shouldn't grow, and Metallica's definitely grown and explored different sounds. I think Metallica back in the day had a certain vibe to them, and I feel like once the Black Album came out, that vibe went away. It disappeared.
Yeah.
And I know Cliff had something to do with that, but I don't think it was everything. I don't think we can give Cliff the entire Metallica vibe responsibility here. I think that there was an overall attitude with Metallica that definitely changed.
Yeah, of course. I think they changed when he died.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the biggest thing, that they changed as people, as persons, when he died, and they are trying to find themselves, and they got lost. Because I think that both Load and Reload and Death Magnetic and Sankt Anger, I really don't like those albums at all. I try to get through them, but there is some bits and pieces here and there. But I always went to the shows, because that's my Metallica right there. Seeing them crank it up with the Metal Militia and Ride Lightning and Creeping Death. And
now, see, it's interesting you mentioned the shows, because I think when I'm talking about the Metallica vibe, I think it comes out on the shows.
Yeah, it really does.
But it doesn't on the record so much anymore.
No.
But when you see them live, it's a completely different fucking ball game.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So that's why I kept to them as a Metallica fan. I went to the shows, even though I didn't buy their albums. I've listened to it on streaming services. I actually didn't buy the Load and Reload and from there on, because I actually didn't like them. I might have one or two on CD. I actually don't know, but going to see Metallica live, it's sort of like it's a time capsule, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You can go back and you can feel the energy, and I think that they maintained themselves, if you know what I mean, in the arena, in that comfort zone that they have as a band, and they still get off on that, and you can, if you stand there in the audience, you can feel it, but it doesn't transcend to the albums anymore for me. I think Hardwired is one of the best they've done in years, but it's still, I think that the albums that Metallica releases to this day, it's not for me, but yeah. still living on and gaining new audience with younger kids, going to the shows and seeing them live for the first time, and they bought this new album. So who am I to say that, well, fuck you, kid, you should be in there from the get-go? Who the fuck do you think you are? It's nothing like that, because I think that music brings us together. And you can see it in the shows, and I think they know it too, and that's why they're so into it. When you see the kids with the sign saying, "Lars, please give me a drumstick," and he hurls down to the center of the stage and walks down, and there's a 12-year-old with the sign going, "Hell freaking yeah," and he hands out and talks to this kid, and that's what it's all about, man. Going to the shows, feeling the energy, and that's what I felt when I listened to the Black Album, even though I don't listen to it that much anymore. But it's sort of like it was just a couple of days after it was released, I saw those tunes live, and those songs came together, and it was a completely different ball game listening to those songs. So I'm keeping those memories intact in my head, because it's the energy and the rawness of it all. It all came out on the stage and in that audience. So that's what I think Metallica is all about.
And I think at the end of the day, those guys are still artists. You look at the latest record, how they did a video for every single song on that record by a different director, and to give it a different feel than having a same director do them all all the songs. And I think that shows you where Metallica is as a band, as a group of artists, that they're doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I think there's two schools of thought. Should you do music for the fans, or should you do music for yourself and hope the fans like it?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's both.
Yeah,
hopefully you could do music that your fans like, but these guys, they give 110% on stage. I mean, I would still, if they came to town, I'd go see them, because I know I've seen them a couple times. They put on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
Every time. And
yeah, but and as you said, speaking about the fans, look at what you can find on YouTube, what they're sharing. I mean, they got nowadays in this crazy time that we're living in, they're releasing a complete show, a full show every Monday that they recorded themselves with the cameras that go out on the widescreens on the show. So they put all those shows together and they're releasing it for free. And they have done it even before this crazy stuff that's going on right now. And if you're a fan of Metallica, if you go to Metallica.com and you become a member, you get a ton of shit for free. I mean, MP3s and you got downloads for shows that you've been to, and you got special clips and you get behind the scenes. I mean, they give so much back to the Metallica community. And so I think that we're sticking to this band because we get so much back as fans. I mean, what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I think this thing they're doing every Monday, Metallica Monday, releasing a show, an entire full-length show, it's just amazing. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. So can we agree to disagree that Metallica is only living in our memories live? Is that a good way to go?
Hey, Metallica will always be a legend to me. I mean,
for me
the
too.
First 3 records are just epic and of legendary status. The 4th record, Justice, is still a really, really good, solid record. So, like we're talking about their shows, I think they've earned that legendary status. Definitely.
Yeah, I think so too.
But this record still sucks.
You had to say it once more. Okay, so with an album that feels things that sucks balls, we're ending this show right now. On that note, please check out the vinyl community over there on Instagram. Hit us up on Sounds on Vinyl over there.
And let us know what you think of this shitty record.
Yeah.
Do you like it? Do you not like it?
Man.
What your favorite songs are.
Oh, jeez. Okay, you get to close the show right now because I'm done. All right. See you guys later.
Mike's doing the mic drop. He's done. Seriously. Man. I mean, like you said, it's the conversation about the record. Let's hear what everybody's take is on it. And with that, we'll catch you guys next week. Later.
This has been Sounds on Vinyl, hosted by Mike Svensson and Phil Boyer. Subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen and follow at Sounds on Vinyl on Instagram. Sounds on Vinyl is produced by Boozehound Productions. Music by Grand Reserva. Visit soundsonvinyl.com for official merch and stuff you won't find anywhere else.